Thank you very much. Piacere, Italia, Roma. We decided in Transform Europe to come to Italy. It was a political decision coming here. It's not only because we are one of the organizers of the Future Factory. You have the leaflet, which is the big, I hope, no, we put together a lot of European movements to talk basically on peace, but not only. But we decided to come to Italy. We need Italy at European level. Italy is not a small country at all. And for people like me, I'm Spanish, as you can see by my accent. I was born, politically speaking, reading and studying Italian thinkers. So the importance of the Italian left at academic level and also practical level is also very important in the construction of the left identity at European level. So coming here was a political decision, particularly because of the government now in Italy, which is, let me insist once again, Italy is not a minor country, and now fascism is again in the government of one of the biggest Western countries in Europe. But that forces us to think and rethink how to reunite or create the convergences needed to come back again to something that Gramsci called the historical bloc to combat against the fascism in our countries. So let me start by saying just very briefly that after the debate we had this morning in Transform Europe, which you know is a network of 39 organizations of 23 countries in Europe, here we are representative of 10 or 11 countries also. And also listening your interventions in the previous session about the Italian situation, I want to share with you one conclusion, at least I have in my mind, that maybe can help. No? I think this reactionary wave, as they call it, that we are suffering in Europe, has a big contradiction that is also an opportunity for us. I honestly think so. No? We are watching how the nationalist narratives are rooting in some countries, particularly in the East, but here in Italy, of course, in Spain, with Vox and in others. No? But the contradiction is that there are the fascists on the far right defending a strong national identity, and at the same time, they don't care, and they are putting our countries and Europe under the subjugation of the US military force, which is NATO, and on the second hand, in the geopolitical sphere, where we don't have autonomy to take any decision. Let me explain the contradiction again. For me, the far right, particularly Vox and Fratelli d'Italia, because they are very close in Italy and in Spain, they have accepted the peripheral role of our countries. They defend a country of cheap labor, low productivity, and no project for the country in economic field. So this double narrative, being a strong national identity with the lack of an economic project rather than the submission to the big companies of the US or even some from Germany or from other parts, is one of the contradictions we must face and put to the table, because my hypothesis is that it's not true that the austerity is coming back. Austerity was always there. The COVID was like a bracket. No? And the other thing is that the reason because this reactionary wave is trying to impose a very authoritarian way of capitalism in terms that allowing Europe as a peripheral role in this global battle between China and the US, and particularly the south of Europe, as countries with no political project, not economic project, and assuming that the cheap labor and low productivity is the only project they can share. So maybe this is something we can work about it in the idea that fascism and the right, because the right-wing parties has been radicalized in Europe, copying, imitating the narrative, the style, and even the irrational ideas of the fascism in Europe today, is the main objective is attacking the social state and the state of rights. Is, as always, under the neoliberal area, they want the less state and more market. It's as simple as that, and as terrible as that, putting in our countries authoritarian government to make that real. So the good thing is, under this situation, this reactionary wave, as they call it, I not call it like this, but anyway, let's use it. There is a reaction, and I think that reaction is where we have to put the focus on. One of the reactions we have is, of course, in France. Here is Jean Leland, and watching the rebels, the riots on the streets, defending clearly a human right, which is the pension. But it's not only, and we have seen here in Italy the most wonderful and beautiful peace demonstration demanding peace in a Europe where this debate is very difficult to do, and I think we are still keeping the battle, defending peace in front of the counteroffensive of the militarization of our national budgets, which is the main objective, to use the national budget to buy weapons and to feed the military industry, basically in the US and also in Germany and part in France, but anyway. So this reaction, which is the peace movement in one hand, we have rebels on the street like in France, we have the feminist movement being strong like in years before, and also we found, and I finish with this, 2 proposals for this year, coming not from political parties, but one for the trade unions that we just heard before, and another for the social movements, to unite struggles and to unite the diversity of interests of the social movements and the trade unions. Now here the representative of the GGL has told us that there was a resolution in the E2 Congress this week calling for a European trade union action in October and supporting general strikes in Europe, in every country, in order to stop this counterattack, not on austerity, let me insist again, but the ultra-neoliberal positions that now is in some of our governments and clearly in the European Commission. But also, in these days, in the Future Factory, in this gathering of different but united in actions, people defending not only peace, but also climate change, feminists, and of course the working class, we are going to launch the idea of meet each other again at European level this August in Paris, in the Summer University of the Social Movements led by Attack, in order to propose for the next year a big forum of social movements, European forum for social movements, in order to rethink and, the most important, netting and making these convergences, as Nicoletta said before, needed in order to stop this reactionary wave. In all these things, transfer will be there, absolutely. And Transform Italy is one of the pillars of Transform Europe, so I'm absolutely sure that we will find a lot of ways to working together in the social movements, the political way, and with Transform Europe. And let me finish also by saying that also is the time maybe, and this is a political debate in different countries, to rethink politics to be united in the way that the more we are, the stronger we are, and what we have in front of us is so dangerous that I think it's a moment to rethink, to create the unity possible in all of our countries and at the European level to stop barbarism and to keep this way open by social movements and the trade unions in order to make another Europe possible. Thank you.